Three signs that you are in an emotionally safe relationship. And I just want to say first that I know a lot of people put weight on chemistry, attraction. I mean, I get it. It's the first thing you feel, right? If you're attracted to someone, it produces dopamine and chemicals and a high, and it's exciting. And that feeling is going to probably override logic. And so on our list, of what we're looking for, someone who has the ability to provide an emotionally safe space um, may not be at the top. You know, it may be extra. It's almost like, okay, first I have to be attracted to this person. And then as I get to know this person and peel the layers, of course, I want someone who has the ability to provide an emotionally safe space. Here's the problem with that because you may be really attracted to this person and things may be going good, and then you may start compromising when you get to the place on your list where you're like, okay, now can this person build something healthy? And so I encourage you to put that on the top of your list. If you're single and you're searching, I shouldn't say searching, it sounds like you're desperate. If you're single and you're attracting and you're open to meeting people who you want to invest in, who deserve you, make sure that on the top of your list, and it doesn't have to be number one, but I would say top three. If the person doesn't have the ability to create a safe emotional space, you're going to be building on sand. You know, attraction and chemistry and quote unquote hot is not going to build legs of a relationship. It's not going to carry you when the honeymoon fades and you want to invest in this person. You want to build something sustainable. So here are three signs. One, you're not afraid to fight or bring up hard things. Now, it's okay to have butterflies because we all get nervous when we know we have to talk about something hard, difficult. But you shouldn't have bats, right? Uh, you may take the long way home when you know you have to talk about something hard, but you shouldn't get to the place where you don't come home. You know, and if the space that's created by both people is safe, there's trust there, and we don't get afraid. You know, we might be nervous, and that's natural. It's okay, but we're not afraid to bring hard things up. We're not afraid to talk about things that may activate our partner or anger our partner, because we know that our partner is not going to be throwing chairs, is not going to assassinate our character. We know that our partner is going to provide a safe space. And listen, it may turn into an argument, and things may go south, and people may be hurt, but at the end of the day, you know that it's going to be okay, right? The house of cards, which is your relationship, is not going to come crumbling down. The sky is not going to fall. He or she is not going to leave. You're going to work through this. And so that knowing, it's everything, And so not being afraid means that you have this knowing that when you bring something up that's difficult, when you approach conflict with your partner, that there is safety. All right, the parrots are out. I was just in New York, and there's pigeons everywhere. Now I'm back home in Altadena, and where I live, there's parrots everywhere. So you may hear a few parrots in the background. Okay, number two, signs of an emotionally safe relationship. Um, and this is on the flip side, the other extreme. People are not verbally vomiting. Instead, they're being responsible with their expressions. I say this because I used to be someone who would want to talk about everything to death, to the point where it's no longer productive, right? And so if you're verbally vomiting, and you getting it out of your system is more for you than your partner, and it doesn't really help the relationship, it just helps your anxiety, then that's not emotionally safe. The pattern of that, of you dumping your, emotional shit on your partner, is going to weigh on your partner / the relationship. So this is a sign that the relationship may not be safe if you or your partner have a constant pattern of dumping on each other. So you have to be responsible emotionally. You have to think about if what you want to say is going to help. You have to think about if what is what you're gonna say going to harm your partner. Fucking parrots. Does that sound like they sound like monkeys? No, I swear I feel so bad because I think a lot of people think I do my podcast at the zoo, and I'm just in my garage. I just can't help it. I close the garage and they just come in through. The sound comes in through the windows and shit. Anyway, if you are verbally vomiting, if you feel like your partner is constantly unloading on you, taking that space hostage by venting way too much, that does not provide a safe space. That is a sign of an emotionally um, unsafe space. And so what do you do when that happens? Well, you actually express it. You say, "Hey, listen, uh, when you talk about those things, of course I care and I want to listen, but they impact me in this way. I now have anxiety. I wonder if these are some things that you can talk to your therapist about. It doesn't mean I don't love you. Of course I love you and I care about where you're at, what you're going through, and I want to hear it. But when you dwell on it, when you talk about it so much that it starts to uh, make both of us, depressed and live on lower frequencies, it's really hard for me. It's very challenging for me. How can I support you with all that without me also, falling down, without me also falling into quicksand? And if your partner says, "Well, this is what love looks like. If I go down, you go down with me," uh, that is not what love looks like. That may be what love looked like in your 20s. That is called codependency. That is called enmeshment. That is called uh, two people who are doing life on top of each other, not with each other. So you tell your partner you'll give him your hand, not your life. Don't say that. That's gonna be a fight. So you 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 express to your partner that verbally vomiting is cracking the relationship space. All right, number 3, you don't feel like you're in trouble all the time. But a lot of this may have to do with your own story, not just your partner or your relationship, right? So, what I mean by this is people who always feel like they did something wrong, they're on edge, they're on eggshells, and they're afraid that they're always in trouble. This is a sign that the emotional safety of the relationship is being hindered. It's cracked. It's not safe. So if you feel this way, the first thing you have to do before you start pointing fingers is to ask yourself, how much of this has to do with my story? If you have a pattern of being in relationships, starting with a relationship with your parents where you are always in trouble and your nervous system is activated when you come home because you're going to get, I don't know, time out or uh, beaten or consequences because there's always something that you did wrong. And if that's been your story and it ripples into your adulthood, that's totally fair. It's important to look at that and take ownership of how much of you feeling that you're always in trouble in your relationship has to do with you and how much of it is truth. So this is something that you should process with your therapist. If you're someone that always feels like you're in trouble, it's coming from somewhere. And so you have to determine how much of that is true. And if that is true, it's something that you have to talk to your partner about. And how much of it is just like your own shit, your own story that you need to work through. Because if people are feeling like they're in trouble, that's not connection, that's fear. And you're not going to love hard, you're going to love soft. You're going to love with fear. And by hard, I mean love with vulnerability, love showing your true self. And if you feel like you're always in trouble, you may feel like um, you may be pulling more from your pseudo self than your solid self in the relationship. And that doesn't produce trust and glue. Instead, it's kind of like a crowbar. It's gonna crack your relationship. You're gonna start drifting, or your partner's gonna start drifting. So here are the three signs that you're in an emotionally safe relationship. Is you're not afraid to fight or bring up hard things. Remember, it's not about how many times we fight; it's about how we fight. So this means that you and your partner both have the ability to provide a safe space. But sometimes, I mean, most of us don't like conflict, so it's okay that it's uncomfortable. You're just not afraid, right? You just know that you could have this conversation and trust that it's going to be okay, even if it doesn't feel okay. Number two, you're responsible for your verbal vomiting, or and your partner as well. So both of you are not unloading on each other so much that you are taking the other person hostage. And then number three, you don't feel like you're in trouble all the time. And by the way, if you feel like you're in trouble all the time, there's also a chance that relationship dynamic is one of parent and child instead of two partners, right? So make sure that you process that so you don't feel that way. So the relationship dynamic is not one of a parent and child, because no one wants to be intimate with their children. Okay. Thank you for listening. I hope that's helpful, and be well.